You've heard about bringing a knife to a gunfight, but how about bringing a knife to a bear fight? Sure, it's not advisable, but when death stares you in the eye, you fight it with all you have. That's exactly how Colin Dowler felt when he was attacked by an extremely angry grizzly bear. The man's 3-inch pocket knife made the difference between his life and death. Stranger things have happened, but please, don't try this at home. Colin Dowler had always been an adventurous sort of person. At 44 years old, nearly 45, he enjoyed skiing, mountain biking, hiking, scaling, and all other sorts of physical activities. It was July 2019, and Colin's 45th birthday was approaching. He'd previously booked a week off from his job in Vancouver, and he was now planning to do something long overdue: spend 2 days searching for the best climbing route on Mount Dowler. Colin and his brother Paul had agreed to climb the mountain together. Located in southwestern British Columbia, Canada, Mount Dowler is a mountain in the Pacific Ranges in Canada. Shaped like a cowboy hat or a dog's tooth, the mountain measures around 6,500 feet. But Mount Dowler carried another significance for Colin and his brother Paul. The peak was named after their late grandfather. Despite this, no one in the family had climbed its summit. Colin wanted to change that. So on July 28, 2019, Colin Dowler said goodbye to his wife and to his daughter and set off on his scouting mission. It wasn't Dowler's first solo adventure, and he trusted that everything would go okay. Armed with a handheld GPS, a bivy sack, hiking poles, and the 3-inch pocket knife his father had gifted him, Dowler left home early at 7 a.m. He arrived at Ramsay Arm, an inlet on the mainland, by boat. There was a logging camp nearby, and Dowler decided to pop in, talk to the workers, and alert someone about his presence on the mountain. That's where he met Vito Giannandrea, the camp cook, who offered Dowler a can of bear spray and a ride closer inland. Then the two men said goodbye, and Colin Dowler began his adventure. Mounted on his trusted mountain bike, Colin Dowler made his way through the backcountry, marking his trail with ribbons. At some point, he realized the bear spray was gone from his pocket, but it was getting darker, and Dowler didn't want to waste precious time and put himself at risk. This was bear country, after all. Instead, he looked for a spot to camp and then called it a day, but only after he strung his food and clothes up in a nearby tree. Dowler valued his safety. The next day, on July 29th, he continued his scouting mission, and soon enough it was time to go back home. As he made his way down the mountain, though, he retraced his steps and looked for the bear spray canister, but with no luck. The bear spray was nowhere to be seen. Dowler made his peace with the fact that he had to continue his journey without that extra layer of protection. He hoped there would be no incident or scary encounter. But he was wrong. As he pedaled down the mountain, Dowler spotted a marker signaling the logging camp was about 4 miles away. He passed the 4-mile marker and carried on pedaling. But then, almost as if it had appeared out of thin air, he saw a male grizzly, watching him curiously. Petrified and trying to think of the best course of action to avoid a conflict with the animal, Dowler came to a stop. The grizzly was only 100 feet away, too close in Dowler's opinion. He had to do something. As he tried to cook up a plan, the man started talking loudly to the bear. "Hey, bear," he kept saying. Turning around, Dowler realized, wasn't an option. The bear could easily pounce on him the moment Dowler turned his back. But the man didn't get the chance to decide what to do next. The grizzly made a decision for both of them. Suddenly, it started walking toward Colin Dowler. Dowler stood his ground, trying to avoid further provoking the bear. But as the grizzly slowly made its way closer and closer, the man struggled to keep himself in check. He was getting nervous, although he knew unprovoked bear attacks are rare. As far as Dowler knew, he hadn't done anything to anger the grizzly. But the animal didn't get the memo. It kept walking toward the man. Dowler got off his bike to keep it between himself and the animal. He took off his backpack and grabbed one of his hiking poles. Up close, the bear looked even scarier. It was huge, its head massive. When the bear walked straight past him, Dowler thought he was saved, but he was wrong. The animal stopped, turned back, and stared right at the man. Dowler slowly raised his hiking pole and poked the bear's head as a deterrent. It worked, but only until the hiking pole slipped, and the grizzly decided it was angry. The creature chomped on the pole, and the two of them, man and animal alike, struggled for a bit in an impromptu game of tug-of-war. The grizzly lunged forward, opening its massive jaws. In a matter of seconds, it chomped down on Dowler's abdomen and back. The sensation wasn't only painful, it was weird. The man could feel his hot blood pouring out. Then the bear lifted Dowler as if the man was a rag doll and carried him to the edge of the road in a ditch some 50 feet away. Then it continued its attack, a bite to Dowler's abdomen and back, then a bite to his arm. Desperate and terrified, Dowler hooked his fingers and tried to gouge the animal's eyes, but he had no luck. Further enraged, the grizzly swung him around and then bit down hard on Dowler's left leg. Then it bit down again and again, and you guessed it, again. Dowler had to do something. He couldn't die there on the mountain and leave his family all alone. With a newly found bout of courage, the man struggled to pry the animal's lips apart. Saliva trailed off the bear's yellow teeth. He tried to reprise his plan and once again pretended to be dead, but the grizzly found the nerve again. Screaming, Dowler remembered the 3-inch knife in his pocket. As the bear continued to maul him, Dowler managed to pull the pocket knife out and open the blade. And then, overcome by adrenaline rush and a fierce desire to live, Dowler stabbed the bear in the neck, fast and strong. The bear took a step back, as if it was amazed the man finally managed to wound it. It walked away slowly and disappeared into the forest. Dowler then used the knife to cut his shirt sleeve, which he then wrapped tightly around his badly injured left leg. He then struggled up and got on his bike. In a matter of seconds, he was down. But Dowler was resilient, and he knew he had little time to waste if he wanted to survive. Once again, he got on his bike. He started pedaling and did so for about 30 minutes before he got to the logging camp. The logging crew, including the camp cook Vito, who had previously given Dowler a can of bear spray and a ride, all knew first aid. The workers combined efforts to help the man likely save Dowler's life. It took the air ambulance about 40 minutes to come and rescue the man. A 6.5-hour surgery and 200 staples and stitches later, Dowler was out of the woods. His recovery was slow but promising. 2 years after the attack, in 2021, the man gave an interview saying his physical recovery was an ongoing project. Colin Dowler later said to reporters, "I largely choose to, focus on, the awesomeness of the event, how cool it is, and I survived it. I'm comfortable being the badass dude that took on a grizzly bear with a pocket knife and won."